Commence primary ignition.
I'm just not the hero type, clearly.
What a piece of junk.
Enterprise, this is the captain.
I got a bad feeling about this.
It's all part of the plan.
Engage.
Welcome back to Podcast 2 for 1. I am your host, Donovan Thompson, with my co-host,
Daniel Wingfield.
And today we are joined by a very special guest, Austin McEuen. Austin,
Hello. Thanks for having
special.
me, guys.
Thank you for being here. And check out our previous episode of the week where we talk about A Quiet Place Part 1, not Part 2.
Cast view, whatever we call it.
Retro Babycast
Retro
Review.
Babycast review.
I'm sorry, Babycast Retro Review. That's what it's
Okay.
called.
All right. Well,
Third
I'm glad
time.
we know the names.
Yeah, exactly. We just throw shit up there. We don't even know what it's called.
That's fine.
Well, first of all, we're going to get to the news, and then we are going to talk about horror films.
I can't wait to be depressed.
Yeah, exactly. Daniel, do you like horror films?
I don't know.
Austin
I mean, I
hates
don't
them,
love
so-
horror
Yeah,
films.
it is my least favorite thing in the world.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, I never really seek out the genre.
Yeah.
But I do watch kind of usually like the ones that people talk about: Get Out, Quiet Place, The Witch, stuff like that kind of breaks outside of the pure horror film, like horror fan genre.
You like the critically acclaimed stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because usually that's good.
Yeah, I can see that. Did you ever watch Hereditary?
I have not seen that.
I haven't seen it since theaters, actually.
I hear a lot of mixed reviews. Like some people love it and some people think it's not
I
good.
think I saw it like 2-3 times. Like, I saw it in theaters in California. I didn't like it that much. I kept going back and watching it actually.
That is normal
something
for you.
about it.
That is normal.
Before we get into the horror, which we got a little taste right there, let's get into the news of the week. And I'm going to do my best because we're in the post-apocalyptic universe now, and I
Yeah.
did not prepare so well for the news. But I will say this.
Everything's canceled.
Everything is canceled. Wonder Woman's officially pushed back to August now. So it actually got a release date. So things like...
Really? That's bold.
Yeah,
bold move.
It did. They said, hey, August, will everything be cleared up? So we're like, all right, Warner Brothers.
That is bold. Yeah,
We'll
I mean,
see.
that's, I guess wishful thinking, if nothing else.
I guess so. So apparently that's when they feel like the best way it's going to happen. Some of the cool things, of course, we have all these VOD movies coming to streaming services.
Yeah.
Bloodshot onwards from Disney Plus. Rise of Skywalker dropped early. We have The Invisible Man dropping.
Good movie.
The Hunt.
I like The
The
Invisible
Hunt.
Man.
Did you watch
What
The
did you?
Hunt?
I haven't yet.
Have you watched?
No.
Did you watch The Invisible Man?
Yeah.
Did you like it?
I thought it was really good.
That movie's great.
I
Great
thought it was
movie.
good. Yeah.
Great. Another one like that kind of horror. I'm in. I liked it a lot.
I'll be getting into that one.
Oh,
eventually.
okay.
That's a really good. I really like.
Ooh,
it a
man,
lot.
yeah. I'm just now remembering like kind of like the moments that you didn't see coming. Fuck.
Do you remember,
the restaurant scene? Oh my god, that was
That's a
amazing.
great moment.
It is a fucking
Going back
amazing.
on Kevin Bacon, remember Hollow Man?
Dude.
Oh yeah,
In
we
our
talked
podcast-
about that. Yeah.
Clearly, you don't watch Podcast 2 for 1. Because
Yeah,
in an episode, we
motherfucker, get out.
discussed Hollow
Get
Man.
out.
Because that's a great. That's a great
I think we actually discussed it
I
maybe
would
on
say,
Philip's podcast because we didn't really discuss the movie on our podcast.
Yeah.
We only told them to go watch it. Phillips.
The only things of
That's
this
right.
podcast I don't watch
So you
is
don't
stuff I
listen.
haven't watched yet.
You don't watch every episode of Initial Reaction by Tavern Talk.
There you go.
Sorry, a Tavern Talk by Initial Reaction.
He was on there.
I'm
before
telling
us.
I was on there.
No, I was on
We
there like
watched
2
Ready or
years
Not.
ago.
Oh, apparently we're just measuring
I was on there
dicks
like
now.
2
I don't-
years ago reviewing Murder on the Orient Express,
I bet you
which was just not a great
I
movie.
bet you gave it a scathing.
I think a 3 out of 5, 2.5 out of 5, maybe.
Wow.
That's what I gave it.
Yeah.
One cool thing, amidst all the chaos and Corona, Ahsoka Tano has been cast in The Mandalorian Season 2.
Yes.
Rosario Dawson.
And the rumor is
Yes.
it is with the intention of starting a live action Ahsoka's TV series that's
Yes.
going to spin off from The Mandalorian.
Austin, did you watch The Mandalorian?
Yes, I did.
Did you watch Star Wars: The Clone Wars?
Not
TV
all
show?
the way yet.
Okay, you've watched some.
Yeah.
Have you watched any Rebels?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
She's a very popular character.
very
This is her
exciting.
right here.
Very exciting.
Ahsoka Tano right there. That's
Obviously,
her. Yeah,
Anakin's apprentice, the only one he ever had. She leaves the Jedi Order towards the end of Clone Wars, basically rejects it, resigns it. She wields 2 lightsabers, which is badass,
Yes.
and she holds them upside down, which is badass. She's just badass. No, I mean, I'm very excited about this. I'm still not like willing to completely believe it for some reason. Like I know like Variety confirmed it. Like at first it started as rumors, but then Variety came out and like confirmed it.
Yeah.
But I'm still like, but are you sure?
How do
Because
you-
like, it's
it
just
does
too
feel,
good to be true.
It does feel that way, but I feel like it's Dave Filoni.
Yeah,
He's been
true.
putting the piece.
I mean, that's his daughter.
He's been playing.
He made that character.
Yeah, he's been playing the long game, and I feel like, you know, with
right, like
Clone
what
Wars
he,
being,
what he came out with after Rise of Skywalker. Saying,
yeah, with Clone Wars finishing out, and then he had to do Rebels and kind of do a little bit more of her storyline, and then we got
Yeah.
Mandalorian, and of course it's like everyone kind of speculated, where do you take Baby Yoda? And
Yeah.
a lot of people said, hey, Ahsoka, if she's still out
Yeah.
there. And there was even that thing about Rise of Skywalker of like, is Ahsoka alive? And yeah, this is
Yeah.
after Return of the Jedi and before Rise of Skywalker. But Dave Filoni was like, you know what? Even though we hear her voice at the end of the movie,
Yeah,
maybe she is alive.
Now, I have a question. How do you think this plays out? Obviously, she comes in the season. A lot of speculations that she spins off to her own thing. So if that's true, she probably stops.
She's not a series regular. We know
exactly.
that. We know that.
So does she take Baby Yoda? Does this now become the Mandalorian minus Baby Yoda? Because that feels bad. That
feels like
that's the core of the
show.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then I almost kind of wished that she would stick around for like 2 seasons, and it would be Mandalorian, Baby Yoda, and Ahsoka as like a trio.
Yeah.
Because I think that would be just badass.
Gina Carano just lost her job, by the way. I mean, like, you
What?
know, I said Gina Carano.
Who is?
She was I can't think of her name. She was the female. She was the only female.
Oh,
Friendly,
the shock trooper.
Yeah.
Is she,
yeah.
but she's still in it. She's still in the cast.
I know. I'm saying like with the Ahsoka around, you don't.
She was never meant to be a long-lasting character.
Well,
She's just so she's a
like
plastic board.
She's in 3 and 4 out of season out of 8
She's a
episodes.
girl with a gun. That is the
Well,
surmises the
that's
total
kind of
her
my
character.
point is that she's going to be replaced by Ahsoka.
But
and-
Ahsoka's much more than a girl with a gun.
No, I know, and I agree. I'm saying that like I'm just saying Gina Carano lost her job basically. If
we'll
Ahsoka
see.
keeps sticking around,
I mean, I feel like she'll still probably come in for like the end of season team up against the baddies.
probably. You're
You know,
right.
she'll be that gun that she'll be that. Have no fear. You know, I'm coming in at the last second, though you didn't expect me, and I have a big gun.
Trying to think.
We'll see.
I don't know. I mean, of course, the Darksabers at play here. We learned at the very last few seconds of Mandalorian season 1. I'm excited.
Yeah.
When are we supposed to get it now? Is it delayed?
It's still fall.
Production or-
They were.
I think they're almost probably already done, right?
They were
Did they?
middle of shooting whenever.
They've been
I don't know.
shooting
Let's
since
look it
the
up.
end of last year. I think they were shooting when season 1 was on.
They were, yeah.
Yeah.
They were because they released the very first helmet. And good thing, well, to say it don't matter if they're on a soundstage or not. It's still kind of unsafe to be around that many people.
Yeah, that's the problem is the amount of people on set. So, but
Yeah.
I haven't heard it. I wonder if they've already wrapped, or if they haven't wrapped, if it's like VO work and green screen work that's left.
Yeah, I don't know this,
Something.
but I mean, I had always kind of speculated that Mandalorian season 1 was ready way before it released.
Yeah,
I always felt like they had it probably done
Yeah.
in the can. They were just kind of waiting for the service to catch up. That's why they were releasing
no,
it.
it launched with the service.
I meant like
They weren't going to launch it before. They launched day 1.
I meant the state of the service. Like I'm sure they was
Oh,
working out
okay.
bugs of the service itself.
Oh, sure. Yeah,
That's
it was
why.
wrapped. It was it was like in the bin probably months prior. Like
So
over the summer.
that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying. Yeah.
yeah.
So
Totally,
I
totally,
suspect that this one may be done already. And of course,
Yeah.
if there is work on the visual effect, then
That's easier to do.
it's easier to do remotely. And we'll see though. I don't know. I mean, look at
I would be interested to hear. Most of my friends that are in LA working aren't in like post or anything. I wonder how post houses and like post production is happening. Like I would imagine that's still kind of the one thing that could still kind of move forward. Besides like
Well, I mean, look at Marvel
pre-pro and
Studios.
like
they're
development.
like shut down completely. They
Who
just
did?
announced they shut down completely.
Monsters Inc.
Marvel Studios.
Oh, Marvel Studios.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're done. Like I mean, not like done. I mean, like they're
No,
shut
they're
down.
done. No more movies.
Whoa! Here's some news for you. 1 hour ago, The Mandalorian season 2 adds Aliens and Terminator veteran Michael Biehn. That's badass.
Biehn?
He was actually at Little Rock Comic Con last year.
Michael Biehn.
Michael
Who's
Biehn
Michael
is Kyle Reese
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
from Terminator, and he's also I can't think of his character name. In
They've added a lot
Aliens.
of. Well, no, I'm out thinking of a different movie.
We
Yeah,
got,
no,
we,
that's,
we got Carl Weathers, who's kind of 80s, 90s,
Yeah, sure.
area. And now you got Michael Biehn. That's really cool, actually. That's a
Yeah.
really good.
No,
grab.
I'm into that.
Really good grab.
I approve
of
that
yeah,
message.
so I think the Marvel thing too. You got to wonder like Black Widow because they were working on like say Infinity War and some of these other movies a couple days or a week before the premiere. You wonder
Really?
Yeah, you wonder if Black Widow. I mean, look at example. This is a post tag. This is not. It's a poor example, but the tag at the end of the Avengers was shot like 2 days before release. They shot
The
it.
end of the event. Oh, the shawarma.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did know that.
Yeah, the shawarma.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
But some of these things they're turning into visual effects shots the week beforehand.
Of course, that was literally a one shot.
It was. And
One
that
shot
one's
scene.
that one's a little easier to do, and
Yeah.
it's a different case where it wasn't like necessary. Right?
No, it was just for fun.
yeah.
Yeah. And wasn't
but-
that like the second after credit scene?
No,
I think-
well, the Thanos thing was the first. Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
So So, but I think like something like Black Widow were basically, they were doing reshoots like just in like January or during the Oscars. They were actually, she was on set doing reshoots during the Oscars, which is like middle of February. So there's probably visual effects shots that are not finished, and the movie was supposed to come out in May, right? And it probably would have been done locked probably in the middle of April, early April.
I still think they just need to go balls to the wall and release it on Disney Plus with a month free of Disney Plus.
What if they just did it on the same release date but didn't tell no one?
They'd break the internet and they'd gain 50 million subscribers. That's what they'd do.
You think it'd be worth it?
Even if they release it free and don't give away Disney Plus for a month. It's $4 a month.
50 million subscribers.
Right?
I don't think so.
I imagine they would gain tens of millions of subscribers if they said, "Hey, this is on Disney Plus now today." Like people would just sign up that day that haven't had it yet. Just even if they only sign up for a month just to watch that movie, they would do it because $5 a month is way cheaper than a movie ticket.
I mean, I would do it.
And as many people you want is going to watch it.
I'm all about the theater experience, though.
Me too.
I am too, but in this time of no theater experience being possible, if you want to shake things up and gain market share, especially as a streaming service,
It makes sense.
this you would become either equal with Netflix or maybe right under them. So
if everyone subscribed, $8 a pop, and 50 million people,
it's $5.
and 50, that's even worse. Let's just say $8. 50 million subscribers, you're only gonna make $400 million
Off the initial subscriber, sure, but when you get subscribers is always about the long game. Because if you get 50 million, let's be conservative and 20 million of them stay. Now you're getting $4 times 20 million extra every month for indefinite future. Right? So at that point,
but also think about this: the movie would also be out in 5 months anyway on the service day one on digital release.
But what you do with that is you get, if you say it's out today, you are going to immediately that day get tens of millions of new subscribers.
Yeah.
You're going to at least retain a large chunk of those, even if it's them just forgetting and it keeps recurring, right?
I think I think it'd be a cool thing.
In the long term, they would make more money.
I think,
in my opinion.
Here's why I don't think it's going to happen. As much as I would like to see it happen, just for the fun of it. I don't think it's going to happen because we've seen all these studios already push back to certain dates, just like Warner Brothers is pushed back to August now, and you know that all these people who have pushed back, like No Time to Die, which is Sony Pictures, and Warner Brothers, which is which is August, they have sat there and they have calculated how many subscribers could we get with this release on streaming, blah, 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 blah.
Sure.
And they thought financially it would still be best to do it in there. So if they're doing the math, you bet your ass Disney's done the math 10 times over, which means it's not going to happen.
Even if they're doing the math, they may just be cautious right now with the state of the economy being in such flux.
That's why
they may just say, we're just going to hold on to this because we know it'll make money later.
No, it's also smarter to not. I think it's much smarter than Warner Brothers did today, where they were like, it's August. I'm like,
no, don't put a date on it. That was dumb.
I think doing No Time to Die in November was okay because I was like, well, that's so far in the future.
Yeah.
And so was Fast 9. That's a whole year away. That's fine too. But doing something in August,
it's so risky. There's such a high chance they'll have to move it again.
That feels risky. Yeah. And to me, I think Disney is just being more cautious about their
No, they
PR.
are, and maybe that's smart. I just think if they took risks, they could make a huge splash. Yeah. And I think that is a obvious risk. Again, if you got 20 more million subscribers a month, that's $100 million more per month that you're making in profit.
Speaking of stuff being pushed back, do you think we'll ever get to see New Mutants?
It is cursed. That is a question, right?
It is cursed. Said that
what a cursed movie.
He was just quoted actually like today. He's I'm thankful for these pushbacks. So it just keeps basically putting people's expectations lower and lower. It's not going to happen. And so basically,
so he can blow them out of the water.
He's very proud of it. He even earlier this week he was quoted as saying, man, I do know the news sometimes. He was quoted earlier this week saying, comparing it to I'm paraphrasing, comparing it to Dark Phoenix is like, it's Dark Phoenix is not a very good movie. I'm like, wow.
Well, everyone knows that, though.
Yeah, I know that.
That's like saying dirt doesn't taste good.
But still saying it though is kind of risky as a filmmaker level. Like
I like it.
I mean, yeah. We do. We're not in the business.
But he's bashing a studio that no longer exists, basically. Because it's now owned by Disney. So the people he's really throwing under the rug aren't even working anymore on those projects.
The people like the director, like Simon Kinberg, or the writer, and the actors involved. Those are people, those are relationships that you can still build on.
But if any of them have an ounce of self-awareness, they agree with him. If they don't, then they're just got their head up their ass and they're in Hollywood. Like they're just listening to a bunch of yes men.
To quote Steven Spielberg, there is a time to sell cars and there's a time to tell your opinion.
No, I get it.
Yeah.
But again, I would just have a lot of no respect if those actors were like, no, seriously, Dark Phoenix is a good movie. Like, I'd be like, oh, okay.
It's not the
Go
worst.
back to your playpen.
It's not the worst movie. Have you seen it?
No. I didn't need to.
I haven't.
I didn't need to
watched
see
it yet.
X-Men Apocalypse either. There was no reason to see it. It looked horrible.
The trailers looked cool.
I
and then I
did
heard.
not. I thought
and
the
then I heard
CGI just
everyone.
looked so bad. Like,
I got a massive.
like Apocalypse, like the guy Apocalypse, isn't that his name in X-Men
He
Apocalypse?
was Oscar Isaac, Poe Dameron.
Oh, I know, but like, good lord, that CGI like hurt my eyes in the trailer. Like I was just like, oh god, it gave me Justice League's flashbacks where I was like, all I can see is CGI, and all is obviously CGI.
It's there's some cool moments in Apocalypse. It's a weaker.
I mean, I'm sure there's some good.
It's
action.
a weaker film than Days of Future Past for sure. And
Which
then,
Days of Future Past is one of the best X-Men movies.
yes,
So that isn't saying much.
but also I'm not a huge fan of the X-Men movies. Like I don't know.
I like them. I
They're
like
okay.
1, 2, and 3, especially when I was younger. I still think they have some rewatchability and some really good things about them. Like some of the casting in that is so perfect, even
Right.
that hasn't aged at all.
Speaking of X-Men, next week we are doing a Logan retro
Hell
baby
yes.
cast
Speaking
review.
of the best X-Men movie to exist.
Yeah, so we'll do that
Logan
next
is
week.
easily-
Speaking of X-Men, so we'll be on the lookout
easily.
for that dropping. Who's going to be our guest on that one?
Sander Patton. Sander Patton's a coworker of mine, or previous coworker of mine, a different job. He just got done touring Europe for like 11 months, him and his wife. And in that time,
You can have
he
this
wrote
time.
a 130,000 word
Wow.
fiction little novel. Which,
to me-
to put it in context, The Hobbit is only 90,000 words. So basically 1.5 Hobbits is what he wrote.
Huh.
So we're going to get into some juicy writing, screenwriting, movie writing, book writing topics. Talk about writing. We're going to write some stuff.
Oh,
Maybe. We'll see.
here's something I want to talk about. That's also great that he's coming on. I'm glad.
Oh, thank you.
I'm glad to
I'm
meet
glad
him.
you
The pay
were
attention-
listening.
pay
So intently
attention.
I'm not trying to figure out a new topic. Yeah,
Here's
great.
something. Diamond Comics, and if you're a comic
Oh, yeah.
book guy, so Diamond Comics basically is the only distributor for comic books, and any comic book store I've ever been in across, like I've been in a few in LA, I've been in Texas, I've been in Arkansas, and a few other places.
That's pretty much the world.
You always ask them, "How do you feel about Diamond?" And they go, "I fucking hate Diamond." That's always the universal response because apparently they lose orders, they're bad at shipping things on time. And they screw a lot of independent comic book stores, which almost all of them are independent.
Yeah, what isn't?
Yeah.
What comics store chains are there? Are
Well,
there?
I mean, that's just say
Any?
independent. I shouldn't say like smaller stuff versus bigger stuff.
Where does bigger stuff even exist? Like, there's a few shops in LA that have like a bunch of memorabilia.
That's what I'm saying.
but-
There's like some bigger stuff in LA, and there's like there's
Yeah.
not many. I'm talking
No.
like there's the Secret Stash, like that's Kevin Smith's place,
Oh, yeah.
which that probably won't go down.
So other
you know.
than shops funded by millionaires,
exactly,
yeah, okay.
So that's better worded, I guess. But it shut down, and so now it's like they're going to stop sending out comics April 1st.
Did they just go bankrupt, or like the business is gone?
It's because of COVID-19.
So are they shutting down for good though?
Not for. I mean,
Just-
they act like they're not doing it for. They said indefinite.
Well, okay, so it's
indefinite
just what every
future.
business is doing.
Yeah.
I thought when you told me that originally, it was like they're shutting down doors.
Oh,
the
no.
business is going away.
No, but it's kind of like, okay, wow, that's it's interesting because like now I wonder if all these comic book stores who can't be doing that great anyway, if they're going to be going down.
I mean, unfortunately, that's the story of a ton of businesses right now,
And
right?
most
Like
yeah.
comic book stores, restaurants, especially the local ones, like they don't have a margin. Like most of those don't even barely break even, and so you take a month of profit away. That's bankruptcy.
Yeah, I mean, comic
You know?
stores are basically social gatherings. Like, and typically they rely on something like D&D or Warhammer
Sure.
or something like
Yeah,
that
yeah.
to kind of bring in people to play, and then also comics happen
Yeah.
to surround them.
Yeah.
But now, if you're smart anyway, I would think they're saying, hey, don't come in.
No,
for
yeah,
X,
absolutely.
Y, and Z. So which is
Yep.
odd, which I say that they maybe actually let it happen anyway because they want business.
Well, I know
unfortunately,
like
but-
Game Goblins in Little Rock, which is a popular place.
Yeah.
I have some
Yeah.
friends that I played there. I played some D&D there before, and I have some friends that regularly play there. They're all shut down. They was like, but a lot of times, in the communities, they're trying to like still purchase stuff online,
Right.
trying to keep
Yeah.
the business afloat. Because again, like hobby shops, they're not like a moneymaker. Like those are kind of passion project. Like if you own a hobby shop, it's probably a passion thing, not a lucrative thing.
Here's another thing. Apparently, and I want to kind of get your thoughts on this one, both of you. There are some places like YouTube and there's even government trying to get involved with like basically limiting people's bandwidth because we're restricting the internet.
Actually, I saw today the PlayStation Network in Europe announced that they are restricting download speeds.
Yeah, well,
in Europe.
YouTube just announced they're restricting download speed as well.
In US or all worldwide?
It says in worldwide.
Wow.
Yeah. So
makes sense. I mean, the world has never been more on the internet than it is right now. Every server. I don't know if you play video games at all, but like Xbox servers every night are having an issue of some kind. Or like I follow their support account. They're like, hey, this isn't working right now. This isn't working right now. This is because the server capacity is like, this is the ultimate stress test for the internet.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure that they've never. I mean, I know Steam has broke records with concurrent players. They had like 20 million playing at the same time. At one
this is
point,
why I like physical media.
You like physical media?
Thank you. Yes.
No, see, this is why I don't. Because if I want a new game right now, I can't get it. Amazon won't deliver it. Walmart won't deliver it. Nobody will deliver it because they're only shipping essential services.
Curbside pickup at Best Buy right now is happening.
Okay, so that's like the only option, but
yeah,
and you know
always
how hard
be an advocate for physical media.
Well, I mean, you had the exact scenario that argues against this. You were looking everywhere for Animal Crossing like 2 nights ago. You went to like 3 different stores and none of them had it, and then you thought, oh wow, this could be as easy as downloading it, and it was.
But A, it was Katie. And then B,
I don't care.
B, I was like, oh, we could just download this thing. And then I was like, Daniel wins. Daniel won.
Exactly.
But then I went home and we started downloading it. And
it took like an hour.
It's going to take, initially it said 59 hours. And I was like,
that's
Jesus
what every
Christ.
download in the history of ever says at the very beginning of the download. Come on.
But we took it in there. And it was like, okay, next to the router or whatever. And it was like, okay, it's going to be now an hour and 44 minutes. And like,
mine downloaded in an hour. I guess you have shitty internet.
And I do have shitty internet. It's 9 o'clock at night, and now I have to go to bed. Well, we could have just popped in.
Who's
a
going
disc.
to bed at 9 o'clock?
No, I mean it was 9 when we started the download, and it's like 10:30 when we're done, and we're 11.
I feel attacked.
Yeah,
I go to bed at 9 o'clock.
Yeah,
yeah, you don't even have a kid yet.
Yeah, you will go to bed.
Actually, you'll probably go to bed much later because once the kid goes to bed, you're like, wait a minute,
I have free time.
I'm an adult again. I have my own free will again.
I'll let you know. I'll let you know in 5 weeks.
Yeah, there you
go. Cool. Well, we did that news cycle. Haven't been much prepared lately on that one.
No, you
honestly because it's been the same thing.
There has been. The world is shutting down. Everything looks bleak.
Not much news because
everyone's downloading digital games. I know.
No one's working in the entertainment industry, which means no news stories are happening.
The news stories are this production stopped.
Exactly.
This production stopped. This movie's postponed.
Seeing Ahsoka announced, and then even Michael B. Jordan, I was like, oh my god, like that's cool. Like we got some news.
Positive news.
I mean,
it's been a while.
The one positive thing is, have you seen like there's no smog over in like China as much anymore?
Too, yeah.
I bet LA
the waters in Italy are like clear. Like
I bet LA's similar too.
Yeah,
there's smog over LA.
It's
constantly.
wild.
It's weird.
Yeah. LA's got one of the worst light pollution.
Yeah,
in, like,
that's why it's so great to film over there.
It is. Yeah, everything's so perfectly like what I can't think of the word. Diffuse. Yes. Yep.
One cool thing: CBS All Access is free.
Yeah.
Until April 23rd. So
24th.
This says 23rd.
Well, I don't know.
So
23rd midnight.
If you haven't watched Picard and you want to catch up and then go back and watch our previous
finale
episodes,
airs this Thursday.
Yeah, go do that, and then we will be doing a roundup.
Next week.
It's not next week, is it?
I don't know.
I think it's week after next.
Okay.
Week after next. Yeah.
I don't drive the truck. I just push the gas pedal.
Yeah. I hope it's not next week because then we got to do 3 episodes.
Okay. Yeah, that would be.
Honestly, I don't care. I like the episodes.
Yeah.
Cool. So we're here with Austin McEuen, and we were originally doing the Quiet Place Part 2, which we did Part 1, which you can check that out again. Babycast review earlier in the week. And so if we have Austin McEuen on the show, then it's the time to talk horror.
Yeah.
That's right.
I grew up with horror films. But I never my parents just never shoved them in my throat. I never sought them out.
Yeah.
But whenever I come across them, I'm like, I might watch it. I do like this. Now, the only tradition I did have growing up is that every Halloween, all I did was watch horror movies. And I had like the same ones I'd watch. Almost go-tos were Pumpkinhead and Fright Night. That's my 2 every Halloween. I'd watch those. And I still do to this day. And then I would sometimes mix in those two, and I'd mix in maybe Child's Play, and then I got like Sleepy Hollow, and then I'd mix in now I love Trick or Treat.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So that's kind of my experience with horror, and of course, as I've gotten farther in my filmication, I've kind of tried to absorb more stuff, and of course, I've always been a big fan of the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, a little bit of Halloween, and then some of Friday the 13th. So I'm a little into it, but not super much.
Austin, what's your horror background?
Yeah,
obviously we know you're a whore for horror.
Yeah,
but
I mean this goes all the way back to just even like toddler age.
Yeah, wow.
So when I was 3, I had a good guy doll.
Fuck. What? Fuck
a good guy doll, Chucky.
Child's Play.
Oh,
I carried around.
Did you like the new Child's Play movie?
Yes and no. It has its.
What's wrong with it, real quick?
They didn't give Mark Hamill his full potential.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it just like limited screen time or voice time, or is it
the voice is, well, spoiler alert. Instead of it being Charles Lee Ray spirit in the doll, it's AI. So
it's a robot.
So Mark Hamill.
It's a robot doll.
Yeah. So Mark Hamill.
Who made it? The government.
Yeah.
Is that the plot?
No, it's just AI gone bad.
I didn't know that. I thought there was AI involved. I didn't know it was actually a robot.
So with Mark Hamill doing the voice, it's just like a robotic voice. It's not. He doesn't. I don't know.
Weird.
I feel like they didn't give him his full potential.
Wow.
It's got
Weird.
good kills and it's fun.
Does it, man? I didn't know that. Okay,
that's the worst part of it.
Okay. So you started as a young child.
Yes.
Well, did your parents encourage this, or like are your parents horror fans?
My whole family actually.
Okay. Yeah. So you inherited it.
It was more my aunt and uncle who introduced me to this stuff. Like my uncle, every Halloween, he's like a 6'3", almost 300-pound guy. He would dress up as Leatherface and chase us around and stuff like that.
That is terrifying.
Yeah, that sounds traumatic.
Stuff like that. I mean, it's just been
the most terrifying things ever in horror to me are the sound that's in Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the remake from 2004 or 3.
Which sound?
2003 Jessica Biel.
Yes, it's
phenomenal.
It's
remake,
the one where it's like the flashing light bulb. In the trailer.
You want to know how that's done?
What is that?
You know a tuning fork?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They hit it and then they get on a piece of wood or paper and go. It's exactly what it is.
What was it? The sound effect for?
Yeah,
it's like a light bulb going off or breaking or no, it's a photography like.
Oh
yeah. I can't do it very well, but it's awful.
It's pretty wild.
Have you seen Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
No.
The trailer for it is kind of terrifying. The opening and the ending of it is terrifying.
I've read up on them at least.
You need to watch the original and then watch the 2003 remake. Yeah. It's one of the best remakes in my opinion. I love it.
Previous guest Johnny Brannon was a background extra in Texas Chainsaw 3D. Just my fun facts for you all.
Which one? When did that one come out?
2011,
13.
I bet it sounds like it wasn't good.
It's
it has the
really cute girl in it.
Continuity. That's every horror movie.
It has some of the worst continuity issues you'll ever see.
Wow.
Okay.
Johnny is a biker in the bar, and he has like an earring.
Can you see it? Is he on screen at one point?
Yeah, you seem pretty good for a minute. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, cool. So in that, and then girls with long black hair that are fucked up faces, a la
the Ring Girl, basically.
The Ring Girl. So that's to me the most two terrifying things.
The Ring Girl has really like inspired like a whole prototype of monster.
I hate it. It's the fucking
like
worst.
the walk weird like juddery like just the way they like made the motion.
The jitteriness of it, like
you've seen that in a lot of other things.
That's another great remake. The Ring, 2002.
It's a terrifying movie.
Wait, what?
The
remake?
It's called Ringu. Is the original?
The Japanese horror.
Yeah.
Didn't they make a American Ringu later on?
What's called The Ring?
Yeah.
No, but didn't they? It was The Ring and then The Ring 2, and I thought the last one they made was called Ringu.
There's The Ring, Rings 2, and then there's
The Ring, The Ring 2, and Rings. Yeah.
Rings.
Yeah. Where it's all digital and viral.
I mean, the valid idea, I guess, but going through the planks.
Was there another Japanese sequel called Sadaku?
There's actually quite a bit of
there's The Ring versus The Grudge.
Yeah,
Japanese film. You seen the movie?
I haven't watched
it.
No,
there's a trailer for that one. Go watch that shit.
The Ring is a good one.
The Ring versus The Grudge, baby. No, anyway, that's the two most terrifying things. Austin, how'd you get started in horror again?
His family brought him up. Yeah. Were you not listening again?
No, I mean, I listened.
Yeah,
I just didn't know if there was more to the story or not.
Just family being exposed to it.
Yeah.
I remember my papa, he, in the late 70s, he managed a movie theater in Little Rock.
Which one?
And he was, I don't know.
Was it
I don't know. I think it was on Kavanaugh somewhere.
Was it the old Cinema 150 that was like the giant one theater, but it was a giant like IMAX, like theater seating. What was it called?
Oh, sure.
It became a music venue in high school called the Village.
I don't think it was a good music venue.
Yeah, that was the best one in Little Rock.
But no, I don't remember the theater, but he was there for like Halloween opening night. He was there for Star Wars opening night. All the late 70s stuff.
Wow.
Like, my dad got to
cool.
watch Star Wars 172 times
in theaters
for free. Yeah, because my grandpa managed it. It's
a lot of
amazing.
time.
That's amazing.
I thought I saw maybe a lot.
Yeah.
Ooh,
He went
that is a cool movie, though.
every day after school.
I don't blame him, honestly. I would have done the same guy.
But
especially back then.
just I mean, my grandparents liked horror movies like that, and I've just been exposed to it forever.
So, what is your all-time favorite horror movie?
I know the answer.
Okay.
I think I know the answer.
You might be surprised. So usually I'd go to like classics like Halloween, Friday the 13th, Texas Chainsaw
I'm
Massacre.
gonna pull my mic away now because I thought I had the answer.
So one of my favorite horror movies of all time, and it still holds up to this day, is Zack Snyder's 2004 Dawn of the Dead.
I did know that. No, I knew that.
Okay.
Have you watched it?
I have not.
It is incredible.
I bet you are foam at the mouth for Army of the Dead.
There answers my other question. What's my most anticipated horror
Yeah,
film that is
dude.
coming out? Army of the Dead.
Army that has Dave
No.
Bautista in it. It's
Yes.
Zack Snyder.
Yeah. See,
Have you heard the plot?
It's like a not mercenaries basically.
It's special forces, and it takes place in Vegas.
That's right.
Special
Oh, wow.
forces.
It's like Dead
It's a
Rising
heist
2.
movie.
Sounds like Rainbow Six.
Yeah.
It's a
Vegas.
heist movie involving zombies. I'm
Yeah.
like,
It sounds like Rainbow Six Vegas with zombies.
Yeah.
and it's Zack Snyder coming back after his long
Right.
break.
Yeah.
So
his first film since
and it's going straight to Netflix too.
Justice League. We'll probably get that. Even maybe when's the release for that? Let's look it up.
It hasn't been
It has to
set
be
for
this
release
year.
date yet, but
It's so- it's so
they were
timely,
filming
It
it.
has to come out this year.
Oh, surely. Yeah.
And there was a production photo a few months ago where they
Yeah.
were all on set together.
Yes.
It doesn't have a release date. Yeah.
Yeah, I've never watched. I can't think of a zombie movie. Well, I guess what's the fucking what's the dude that makes weird movies with Simon Pegg? I'm blanking on his name at the moment.
Nick Frost? Not
Edgar
Nick Frost.
Wright.
Edgar Wright.
Yeah.
Oh.
His zombie movie,
Shaun of the Dead.
Shaun of the Dead. Yeah,
It's funny.
That
'cause
is funny.
Those came out the same year.
Really?
Dawn of the Dead came out first, and
Wow.
then Shaun of the Dead.
Surely he
several
played
months
off
later.
the title though. Like he
Played off
knew
the title.
to
They
play
had
off.
no idea those productions were going on at the same time. They were originally supposed to release around the same weekend, so they pushed Shaun of the Dead back so they wouldn't compete.
Shaun of
with
the
it.
Dead is great.
It was a crazy
There's
coincidence.
a
with it.
cool little thing going viral that's like Nick Frost and Simon Pegg doing like
Yeah.
a Corona thing.
Yeah.
Go to the
happening.
Winchester.
I mean, honestly, the only zombie movie that is kind of on a list that I still want to see. 28 Days Later. It's
great.
And I guess the sequel is 28 Weeks Later.
Yeah.
Yeah. You should
Those-
watch Quarantine, which is not really a zombie movie.
Is that on Netflix?
Kind of reminds me of a zombie.
It's the English remake of Record.
Yeah.
Or Rec. Or
yeah,
Don't know
it's
what that
Dog
is.
Wreck,
REC,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
It's a
Okay.
Portuguese.
Japanese horror?
No,
Like whatever.
Portuguese.
Oh,
Portuguese.
but I mean, like a horror film, zombie movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's literally people trapped in a.
There's that one, and then there's
hotel.
another one that's been making a lot. It's like
You like World War Z?
It's no, I've seen that. I liked it. It was okay.
It was okay.
It's a Korean one. It's like called Death Train, or it's like a train.
Train to
to
Busan.
Busan.
Absolutely.
Yes, I hear it's
incredible.
amazing.
The
Watch
sequel is I just saw it. on here.
Venezuela.
Yeah,
I
you
think.
go, yeah.
You've both seen it.
I haven't seen Train
Train-
to Busan. Apparently, it's amazing.
It
That's
is
what I hear.
very
It's like
good.
incredible.
It is good.
And Korea often, I feel like Korea is often the dark horse of like amazing horror. Like you
Yeah.
don't ever, but then like South Korea comes up with these amazing horror movies all the time.
There's some good stuff coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just in general. I mean, we got
They've got a
Parasite
lot of
recently.
zombie movies. Like
Yeah.
South Korea has made a lot of zombie movies. It seems like.
Why? Okay, Dawn of the Dead. The first things I think of are, I think of the sniper scene. I think of the guy up there picking people off.
Oh
And
yeah,
then, of
Rosie.
course- yeah, and then of course, I haven't seen it in a long time. Probably since it come out. Another thing I think of is, of course, the pregnant lady.
Yes.
Yeah,
Is she pregnant with a zombie?
yeah.
The baby's a zombie.
Does the baby turn a zombie? Or did he die?
Well, she gets bit.
Did he-
In the very beginning of the movie, she's bit. It's a minor bite, so it's like before they know anything about bites, and then they discover it later. So it's like a kept secret.
Gotcha.
until the
Oh
person-
wait, fuck, Zombieland. You like Zombieland?
Yeah, zombie is good.
Yeah.
But it's not a horror.
horror comedy.
The first one is good.
It's
The
a
second
horror
one was god awful. Good lord.
Yeah, it's
Woof.
It's horror.
Woof.
Okay, so this.
Can we make
When
sex the plot hole of the plot line in a zombie movie? They can, and they did.
The baby in Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah.
That it's a zombie, right? At the end, it comes out a zombie, right?
It's not the end of the movie. It's
Yeah.
probably right before Act 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
What happens with it? I forgot.
You don't remember?
She
Well,
kills
it comes out. There becomes one of the characters goes into the birth
Yeah.
the birth happening, and the husband or the father, he's
like
she's a zombie tied on the bed. She's turned, and the baby's a zombie. He's like, don't kill my family. And she pulls the trigger, and they shoot off. They both kill each other, and then everyone else comes in, and then they witness a zombie baby, and they have to shoot it.
Wow.
It's dark. It is dark.
See, I was anticipating a zombie baby bursting out of a pregnant woman's baby.
Are you thinking
like
aliens?
Belly. Like basically, but with zombies.
Yeah.
And a pregnant belly.
And it takes what I love about this movie, there's very little humor. It is a serious zombie film, and it's a scary zombie film.
Yeah. Which is harder to do these days, I feel like.
It is hard.
It's just an over kind of saturated genre.
And that's, yeah. And
well, maybe not as much back then, I'm
and
sure.
what's ruined zombie films?
The Walking Dead?
The Walking Dead.
Yeah. The Walking Dead ruined a lot of things. Like The Walking Dead,
What kind
especially.
of brings me into some of this other question we have. What do you think was let's kind of go through history. What marked the beginning of great horror films? You know, like I know we kind of know from cinema history, like we have the
slasher
Universal,
films,
we have
Universal films,
Dracula. Like what? That's like what, 30s, 20s,
1930s,
30s.
Nosferatu is like
early
20s,
30s.
Right?
Yeah.
Nosferatu, that's your German expressionist area.
Yeah. I thought that was like teens.
Yeah, no, 1920,
That was a horror film.
I think, was Nosferatu.
Well, it makes sense. I mean, horror has been one of the easiest genres to do on screen because it's easy to make people afraid, and movies as a genre lend themselves to monsters.
Right.
You know, it just makes sense.
I mean, like what? So Universal, they had these monster movies, and I guess the big thing about horror, would you say, is that it's like what the monsters are reflections of something the human characters are going through, or some type of anxiety, or
yeah. The Universal monster movies. If we go back to the early 30s, we got the Depression era, so it's like it's an escapism world, and we deal with like dark tones. It's the first time. I wouldn't say first time, but they're going off these German expressionist way of lighting and the mise en scene. I always want to say mise en scene. I don't know.
This episode is called Mise en Horror. Is what it's called.
And it makes us sympathize with the monster, like Frankenstein.
Yeah, absolutely. That's very true.
It does. Like
Frankenstein's monster.
Yeah,
Daniel.
What?
It's called Frankenstein's monster.
I didn't say Frankenstein.
I know. I'm just fucking with you. I just wanted to pick on you for a second.
But
he doesn't even know how to do that good.
You know, the Universal monster films is what that's what really started. It wasn't even called horror at the time. It's just what started this this trend of
sure. And a lot of those even
movies.
came out with or spiked with like Soviet era Cold War tensions, which sci-fi and horror both kind of used as playing off those tensions of the Cold War.
Invasion of the Body Snatchers, which is kind of like commenting on Cold War.
A lot of sci-fi horror.
Yeah.
Was kind of done then too.
That was in the 50s.
Soylent Green.
Because of,
Cold
Roswell,
War. Moonrace.
Aliens.
Sure.
Well, like what was so you have this big boom in the 30s and 40s, and was there ever a point where it kind of went away, or did it kind of like always stay relevant?
No, that's a good question. So when we get into the 40s, we thought the horror was going to die. So what we did was get all these Universal Monster sequels, and they were more comedic.
Interesting. Like Frankenstein's Bride, is that their
The Bride of Frankenstein is a good sequel, by the way. But
is it a horror film or is it kind of comedic? I don't know.
I think you're thinking of Young Frankenstein, which is pure
Young
comedic.
Frankenstein.
I was thinking. I wasn't thinking of Frankenstein, but I know what you're talking about. I've never seen that movie.
Young Frankenstein's.
Johnny would like come to the wall and kill me right now if I said that out loud. He loves that movie.
It's amazing. I
need to watch it.
It is amazing.
But you get all these sequels like Son of Frankenstein, the House of Frankenstein, Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein, stuff like that. You start getting into.
I didn't know that.
Barney Fife Frankenstein movies.
Wow.
Yeah. And then they start merging all these monsters together in movies too, even when it's not
like crossovers, like the creature with like
the creature from the Black Lagoon.
That's it. I can say it correctly.
And then 50s with all the we're getting what's the word nuclear families,
right?
And, aliens are attacking us. We start getting back into it, and then we kind of had a dead era with the 60s, but we did get like Rosemary's Baby. We got Psycho.
Yeah.
Oh,
so more grounded horror, more like
you said,
humans that
you
were
said
villains.
60s. So my initial thought was probably The Exorcist probably really brought it back.
Exorcist was 70s.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like that was probably the big first.
So we got what brought horror back in the 70s. We got if I'm just talking about like American cinema, we got like Texas Chainsaw Massacre 74, Black Christmas 74.
I bet you loved that remake recently, didn't you?
Yeah. I don't want to get into that.
I know you didn't.
I don't have context for this conversation.
Black Christmas is like an old school, like very famous horror film.
I've
It's
heard
like,
of it.
It's,
Yeah, I've heard
You
of
know, fun story. Bob Clark is the director. Made A Christmas Story.
Ha!
Wow.
Made A Christmas Story. He made Porky's.
Whoa.
He made,
Don't know
yeah,
what that
What a diverse filmography.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Wow.
Black
Christmas Story's
Christmas
a
and A
classic.
Christmas Story. Same guy.
Same year.
That's wild.
Same cast.
Same cast.
even in Porky's, it's weird.
In fact, it's the same footage. They just cut it differently.
The thing about Black Christmas recently, Daniel, is that it's basically there's really nothing similar about the plot from what I understand. It's like an all-female cast and it's like female empowerment.
What is it? Krampus-y? Or is it? What's
No, I mean
is it like
the original Black Christmas '74. It's a Canadian horror movie,
Okay.
but it's dark.
Is it monster horror or
No,
is
it's a killer.
okay.
It is like a stalker killer guy.
When did Psycho come out?
1960.
So that was probably a big.
Oh,
Hitchcock.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure Hitchcock
yeah.
was a big because he did not all of his stuff was horror, but it was at
He's
least
more suspense, but that one kind of
that was the most horror movie. Well, The Birds is pretty horror.
it kind of started the slasher genre in a little bit. That
yeah.
Peeping Tom came out that same year too.
Oh,
and
yeah,
then
yeah.
that started with the your handheld camera
Yeah.
movement a little bit. And the first blockbuster movie of all time is horror. Jaws. Yeah.
Man, Jaws is a horror film. That's one I always forget, but I saw Jaws in the theater, I don't know, 7 years ago. And actually, I have a step when I was a kid, I had a pallet on the floor. I think my brother was not even born, so I think younger than 5. And I'm sitting there, and my parents fell asleep. And I remember watching Jaws. I was like terrified.
Well, sure.
And I was like, this is terrifying. But then I forgot about that, and I went to the theater and watched it. And a couple years ago, and I was like, man, in theaters, like when the skeleton comes out, like the boat, and just seeing it, it's like, man, this is scary.
It is
Even
scary.
Jurassic Park is pretty terrifying.
Oh yeah, I feel like
And
Jurassic Park I feel like it qualifies as horror.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
it's really
And-
weird. In it.
And with Jaws,
Yeah.
like my biggest fear is deep sea and sharks.
really,
My
Okay.
biggest fear.
did you like The Shallows?
It freaks me out.
I haven't
Or
seen
like
it.
What's the
47 meters
Samuel
down and
Jackson
stuff like
shark
that.
movie?
They
Blue Ocean?
makes my palms sweaty.
Do you remember that? Was it Blue Ocean? That was like the
The
Samuel
Deep
Jackson.
Blue Sea?
Was it Deep
Ooh,
Blue
Deep
Sea?
Blue Sea,
Yeah,
man.
Samuel Jackson, LL Cool J,
and
Thomas James
and
in
Lake
it too.
Placid. Same,
I remember
same
like a
time
shark
period, yeah.
like comes out of a window and kills Samuel Jackson at the
I'm-
end.
He's like,
He's
what
like
does he
making
say?
some speech,
Yeah,
and then it
yeah.
just busts through the window
Yeah,
and like
yeah.
gets in.
I'm all for a shark movie because they freak me out.
I haven't seen The Shallows.
Gotcha.
Which that kind of brings me to my next thing. So why do we as people? You said you watch this because it freaks you out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Why do people go to horror films? Like, why do people want to be? I think we probably know this answer as filmmakers and people who've studied this. But for those out there who
I already know. I don't know.
yeah, exactly. But my point is, tell them, Austin, why do we go watch horror films? Like, why are we doing this?
First off, it's escapism.
right?
You want to go to there?
Sure.
And another, it's a world that's not in our normal reality where we can experience fear and feel safe.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, I
That's
feel like
the-
that's
the
the
answer.
answer. Like
Yeah.
you're emotionally pushed to the brink, but you're within the safety of reality.
Exactly.
So it's kind of like I feel like people that love horror are just probably like adrenaline junkies in the end.
In a way.
You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like it's not much different than like skydive. I mean, like,
And it's also
when you skydive and have a bungee cord. You know, I mean, there's a similarity with that. Like you're facing or like tempting death or encountering a form of death and being safe the whole time.
And it's also a personality thing too. Like
Oh, sure.
people who love horror movies like myself, we're very paranoid, always cautious of everything, always want to know where exits are. So it's like a way of how would we survive in a
Catharsis.
situation.
It's almost like catharsis.
It
It's
is.
like it's pinting up that, that pent up emotion of the world is a scary place.
That's interesting.
I've got a question.
go
if I
for
can
it.
butt in. What? No, I know, especially among horror fanatics, there's a lot of debate between what horror movies are good and what aren't. Like, it just seems like it is like,
Right. It's
aside from some of the classics that most like, I don't hear anyone saying The Shining is not a good movie.
I
or
love
like
The
stuff.
Shining.
Oh yeah, it's probably my
I would
favorite
say
horror movie.
you're people who are real horror fans. I
Yeah.
would say they like all of it. There's
Well,
some
I
that,
mean, I know
in
you-
general, like
Okay, then let me ask this: What do you feel like? There's a lot of talk about we're having like a resurgence of the horror genre.
Yeah.
Right. What do you kind of attribute to that? Like, what is changed? What has? Is it? Are we going back to the way it was before, or are
Not
we doing
at
something
all.
new? Okay.
So. I liked Blumhouse at first,
Okay.
but now they've turned into the really clean, and crispy looking cinematography, and the tone is not scary at all.
List off some movies for Blumhouse.
Everything lately.
Like literally any blockbuster movie right now, if it's not A24, it's Blumhouse. They basically monopolized the horror genre.
I guess Blumhouse was Invisible Man.
That was good,
The
though.
Witch?
No, The Witch was A24.
A24. Did you like? Okay, Get Out's one. That's Blumhouse.
Get Out's one, yes.
You like Get Out?
Us is one. It's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay.
Did you like? You liked Halloween though, right?
I thought Halloween was great.
It's
my
Blumhouse.
biggest complaint is another thing Blumhouse does. Too much humor. Way too
There
much
is
humor.
like a kind of a brevity of like some. Yeah, well, man, that kid though.
But I feel like you need.
He's funny.
You
but
need humor.
That should have
been
been
the comic relief. Sometimes,
yes,
right?
yes, but not the whole time.
Right.
Because then you take away the tone.
So
That's
yeah,
probably-
what
go
do you
ahead.
feel like this Blumhouse trend is doing to the genre? Like you said, it's like real clean cinematography, but like as far as like what makes a horror movie, right? Like
I almost feel like they don't take it serious. Like
Okay.
it's a joke
okay,
in a way. Like it's just people like, I can make a horror movie. I'll do this and make
Yeah.
it clean. It's people who are making these movies. I feel like they don't like it as much as
they're not true horror fans.
exactly.
potentially? Okay,
I can see it,
Interesting.
and it makes me mad.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I could be doing
we
this.
got a little bit of umbrage.
I guess I
yeah.
haven't really seen a lot of the. I mean, again, like listing off the horror movies I've seen from the past 5-10 years is like The Witch, Get Out, Invisible Man. I'm trying to think of even others right now.
And my biggest pet peeve, PG-13.
Oh yeah.
I hate PG-13 horror
Just
movies.
you want more gore?
There are
You just
good
want more
ones.
gore?
Well, I feel like with PG-13 horror movies, you don't give a horror movie its full potential. Because you can push a horror movie to limits.
Was A Quiet Place PG-13?
Yeah. Like I said, there's some good ones.
Yeah.
For sure. The Ring remake, PG-13. Insidious, PG-13.
Yeah.
Conjuring, rated R.
How much gore
The
you
Conjuring
show.
is
Fantastic.
the best horror
Yes.
film last decade, in my opinion.
Honestly.
Really?
It really is.
I think so.
Have
you seen The Conjuring?
I haven't.
It is good.
Yeah.
I watched that movie. Probably a year or two after it came out.
Yeah.
And on DVD or whatever with my family. Actually, it's a weird. We don't ever do that with horror films. We watched it together.
Yeah.
And I know for a fact my dad was creeped out, which he never was creeped out by anything.
Really?
And
It's that
I
scary?
was, and I was like,
It is. Like,
and I was like, Jesus Christ! I didn't want to get up to go to the kitchen to get ice cream. I remember that
See, I don't-
specifically.
and James Wan's a
Look forward
master
to
at
those
that.
kind of experiences.
I was
and it's
like,
like-
I was fucking freaked out.
Well, here's the thing. There's no foul language. There's no gore, no
Yeah.
sex. It's strictly rated R for its scare. It's incredible. It's really
I'm
good.
gonna run some films by you. One I really like. It follows.
One of my favorites of the decade as well. Like
Yeah.
it's-
I haven't seen it yet. I want to. I hear
the
it's really
music, the cinematography, it is.
It feels like a
Oh,
movie
it's good.
that it feels like a period piece, but you don't know where it takes place.
Mm-hmm.
Just with like the production design. But to me, it follows is like to me the start of this resurgence. Like in terms of like I would call quality horror, and like this like more like I say quality is in like kind of more of your Get Out, your Quiet Place, your Conjuring. That when that happened, that was kind of the start for me in terms of like that's all this shift happened. Then you had like the Babadook, and then
Same
you had-
year too.
Huh?
Same year.
Same year.
Babadook and the Get Out, or Babadook and It Follows were all the
Yeah.
same
Okay.
year.
Cool. So yeah, so Babadook, and then you also had the Witch coming out, or the Vitch, if you want to.
Yeah.
And The Conjuring was actually before both of them.
Really?
Yep.
The Witch was very divisive.
Yeah. How
I
what's your
in
feelings
theaters.
on it?
I love it.
Who didn't like
But
it?
I don't
like
like
it as
it.
horror, like the horror communities.
I don't.
I wouldn't say horror communities, but it's like
fine,
the
man.
way A24 does with their. I like A24 horror movies, by the way, but the way they advertise them in their trailers is not the way the
Misleading.
movie is. Very misleading.
But see, I would prefer that than give the whole movie away.
no, exactly.
Like the Invisible Man's trailer was the entire film. Each act was represented. Each beat.
Did you like?
But-
you're right. But it was still that was a rare case where the movie was
where
so
you
good. It
Yes,
trumped
they gave the
marketing
whole
campaign.
movie away, and it still was really good. That's a testament.
Hereditary.
Yeah, I hear
So,
a lot of devices about this.
I really enjoyed it. I did. But it was another one of those where it was so hyped. People like at school were like, man, it's the best horror movie ever. You're going to love it.
Yeah.
And I go in, I'm like, it's okay.
To me, the movie
It's
was
like, okay.
It was well made. It was good. But to me, it was because people have such low expectations for horror
Mhm.
that a 7 out of 10 is like considered a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's actually a 7 out of 10 or an 8 out of 10. It's not a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
To me, that the Hereditary's biggest problem is is the narrative stuff, where like there is some creepy shit in it, yes, but the end of it, to me, there's a lack of choice.
Yeah.
And the whole movie is representation of lack of choice, and I think that's just like anti-movie. In
This is
general.
that whole like voodoo doll kind of thing, right?
Kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The play doll house.
Did
that's
you
controlling
like
people.
Midsummer?
I
That
prefer it over Hereditary.
I have seen a lot
That
of
is
people
a-
divisive on that. Like that
It's
is
very-
when I
yeah.
see much more division.
that is a
on.
movie you watch it in theaters. It makes you feel uncomfortable.
It's
Two-
not like
two
I've heard
things.
it's
Very
like-
uncomfortable.
It's just a constant stream of uncomfortableness, not just a bunch
And
of.
what I
horror.
like to call it, it's an art house slasher movie. That's what I like to call Midsummer.
Whenever me and Katie watched it, I'd say somewhat recently in the last 4 months or so, and the opening of that, she like talked about that for weeks, just the opening scene for weeks. She says it's like it keeps her up at night sometimes. When I first went and saw Midsummer in theaters, Spider-Man: Far From Home was playing when it's come out. I went and I was dating. I went with my ex-girlfriend at the time because we were still trying to be friends. And the first 5 minutes of the movie was an exact representation of our relationship. And I could see her in the corner of my eye. She was shaking because it was bothering her so bad. And I said, we probably need to leave. She was like, yeah, we do. Because it's
a haunting movie.
It is. It's all about relationships.
Yep.
It's
Yeah.
all about the failure, or not failure, but it's all about just.
I feel like it's a movie. If someone didn't like it, they need to give it another shot.
Yeah, I'm interested. I mean,
There's some
the
cool
first from
symbols
the
in it,
first
yeah.
trailer, it grabbed me visually. It was
He's
just-
great.
Yeah.
As a
Now I want to
director.
know in the trailer it has white.
It's not like that. in the
Yeah,
movie.
it didn't have that.
I was
loved
really
it.
hoping it would.
I wanted it so
I was
bad.
like, oh my god, that would be like game changing. Like that would just be a big deal for cinema.
Like it's one of those things that's so simple. And we're talking about the like how we're 2 for 1.
you have the black bars at the top in the beginning.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's white
In the
So,
trailer, it is. Yeah, you should just go watch the trailer because, like, especially full screen,
Yeah.
where you get like it just makes everything feel so much brighter
Yeah.
on screen,
Yeah.
and it just has this like, but compared to what's happening on screen and like the looks of anguish and pain and horror, it's like
And it's-
such a great dynamic.
And it's a horror movie shot completely sunny day, beautiful
Yeah.
looking. It hasn't been a movie like that really since the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But I wouldn't call that pretty day, but it's
daytime.
it's gritty, but it's in the daytime, and that
Here's the best thing about Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise in general. You ready?
I'm ready.
Dustin Hoffman with a chainsaw.
Yep.
Chainsaw dueling. Leatherface. Is
that in the
chainsaw?
original?
It's part 2.
It's part 2.
That's
yeah.
part 2.
Dustin Hoffman in it?
At a carnival, right? Or am I making this about a
No,
circus?
not Dustin Hoffman. It's Dennis Hopper.
Dennis Hopper.
Dennis
I
Hopper.
said
yes,
Dennis Hopper.
Sorry.
Dennis Hopper.
I always.
You're right.
I do the same thing.
Yeah.
I get those names mixed up all the
Dennis
time.
Hopper, and they're
Yeah.
dueling, right, with chainsaws?
Yes.
Fucking incredible.
And it's still the same director, Toby
I
Hooper.
just tried to really.
Same
I just tried to
director.
fix my glasses. I don't have any glasses on. No, so Midsummer, it's man, it's one of those movies like you just can't watch them all the time. I don't feel like it's not
No, I
hard.
mean,
Like
honestly,
I
that's-
own it, but I haven't watched it since theaters.
But to me, that's also a mark
hard.
of like a good horror. Like even Get Out, The Witch, especially.
I feel like Get Out is rewatchable though, and I feel like Us
It's
is
more
rewatchable.
rewatchable. There's a lot more comic relief. The horror is more restrained. I don't know, but I think like The Witch, especially The Invisible Man, kinda. But I feel like I'd rewatch that sooner than The Witch. But like I just feel like
I think The Witch is not rewatch. I think that's my
it's
problem is that
not
it's just
fun.
like
I
it's
wouldn't
all
want to.
It's the perfect movie
in a lot of
for-
ways. Yeah,
No,
yeah. No, it's the best movie of all time.
it's
I
the
heard what you're
perfect
saying, Donovan.
movie.
That's a good point.
it's the perfect movie to represent tone. Like, to, like
Yeah,
if you're trying to explain tone in class, whatever, like, hey,
I
The
think
Witch,
I
it
think
drips it.
100% achieves everything it wanted to.
Sure, I just don't think it's an entertaining or fun movie to watch. I'm like, this
But
is
to me, that's most horror.
that's not. Well, I don't think so. I think,
Like I don't.
Well,
something
first,
have a,
you're
a sensation
wrong.
of fun. I don't.
Thank you, Austin.
I don't feel endorphins when the person gets their throat slit. You know what I mean? Like doesn't bring joy.
when I see
Like
someone's throat get slit,
psychopaths.
I see like it took a lot of effort to build that prosthetic and the blood flow and all that.
but at
Special
that point,
effects.
you're not watching the movie. You're like analyzing the movie, right? Like
even then, it's catharsis. Someone watching,
Yeah.
like, man, that's so and so right there in my
What?
life.
I don't think
That's,
that's
Daniel Wingfield right there in my life.
not quite how catharsis works, but okay.
Trying to think.
Another
What else?
movie I want to bring up to you.
Please.
Did you out of new horror movies? Did you ever watch Sinister?
No.
I've not seen Sinister 2, and the reason is because the end of it, I was like, fuck, I don't want to watch this because so-and-so character will not be in Sinister 2 now.
Yeah.
Ethan
But
Hawke.
Sinister is one of those movies. After I left the theater, I was freaked out.
Dude, that movie is
It's the music.
really...
The music is so terrifying. When you listen to it, it just it gives you the willies. The music is
That's
amazing.
a classic case of, like, to me, what scares me the most in movies is, like, the monster, the demon, whatever, but it has, like, a really scary-looking face.
Like
that-
uncanny.
That shit gets to me. Like, that
Yeah.
that
Oh yeah,
fucks me
this
up.
face is pretty freaky.
That scares me.
That
have you
movie-
seen this? I think it's on.
Watch it, man.
It's somewhere. It's a nice little
Like
horror film.
the music just haunts me. Like it's just, oof.
Here, question real quick. Sidebar. Do you guys consider The Invisible Man a horror film?
Yeah, it's a very different kind, but yeah. I mean,
Yes.
if you
Katie
think
was
about
like, Katie was like, it's not a horror film. I was like,
Why?
it's a horror
It's
film.
a horror.
why
film.
is it not a horror film?
She said it was a thriller or suspense.
So here's my
Well, I mean,
thriller is horror.
yeah, I think
That is my argument for
So
that.
you would-
well, I mean,
Would you argue The Game is a horror film then?
yeah,
It
probably
could
at
be
times.
Seven
It's got
horror
some
movie. You know,
fucking
a
jump
lot
scares
of
Seven definitely.
There's a ton of jump scares in that.
I mean, Silence of the Lambs
in the game.
We just watched this.
It
last
has that like killer clown
And,
sequence when he's like getting chased by a clown or whatever in the game.
Silence of the
It's
Lambs
fucking
is
horrifying.
they called it a thriller.
It's the first
just
horror
so,
film to ever win Academy Award.
They call it a thriller because horror is a taboo word for Academy Award.
But that's totally a horror film.
It is
Yeah.
a first horror
The
movie.
Shining
Yeah.
is horror film, but it feels. I mean, there's no.
Yeah.
There's blood, but it's always in dream
Is
sequences.
Kronos a horror film?
Yeah,
Yeah, I would.
No.
Yeah, horror thriller. Yeah,
Whoa, my film's I made a horror movie.
it's a bad horror movie.
All I make is horror films. Yeah, it is.
No.
You're not wrong.
If it was trying to be a horror movie, it would be a bad horror movie.
That's
but,
true.
No, I think that's a good point. I mean, like Jurassic Park is probably one of my favorite horror movies. Like, I think that is such. I mean, it's just such a fucking good movie.
In theaters,
It's just perfect
when you're watching
in so
that,
many ways.
it's pretty terrifying.
It is like there's blood. Like the dinosaurs are
Yeah.
terrifying.
Oh, yeah.
Like eating that guy on the toilet. Like
the moment, like the way he builds suspense in that movie is pretty
the
wild.
raptors in the kitchen is
Yeah,
fucking
I know.
terrifying.
The
Yeah.
T-Rex, even whenever he's like going into in a theater, the T-Rex trying to get through the
Yeah.
the vehicle.
yeah.
This it's so loud.
Yeah.
and it's so fucking big on the screen. If you go watch
When,
Jurassic
when
Park
he's
in the
punching
theater,
that glass through and they're like holding the glass.
yeah, they're
screen.
with their feet. It
Yeah.
is
Going on the
scary.
Jurassic Park ride at Universal
That
Studios
is
terrifying.
terrifying.
That
I've
big
never
T-Rex
been.
at the end. I'm like,
I knew it was. I know it was
dude.
coming. I didn't go as a kid for that reason. I went like a couple years ago,
Yeah.
and I did it, and I was just like, "Oh!" I knew it was coming. It
Yeah.
was still fucking terrifying.
But even
I,
like
I wrote it when I was like 8 years old. I was scared. It's
awful.
like a big old thing with teeth.
Yeah.
Hell no. I ain't
And I
messing with
think
that.
probably when it comes to horror, I'm probably just more of a thriller side of the genre
Yeah,
fan. Like
yeah.
The Others is a fan. I love The Others.
The Others is Nicole
Ooh,
Kidman.
so good.
It is
Oh
very
my
It's
good.
God.
a great twist.
That was probably
Yes.
one of the earliest horror movies I ever saw. Like I remember my mom showing me that when I was pretty young because it's not scary. I mean,
It's
there's
got some freaky
creepy
stuff in
shit,
it, yeah.
but like there's no gore. There's no like there's some jump scares, but they're mild.
Speaking of gore, how do you feel about? I hate this term. I'm gonna say it because I want to talk about how much I hate it. I hate what's the term?
Torture porn.
Torture porn.
It's stupid.
I hate
Yeah.
that
What
term.
movies qualify as that?
Saw. It's
Saw,
And
Hostel.
Hostel,
The
yes.
early 2000s is what brought on the torture porn.
I remember watching Saw on TV because I was too scared to watch it. I took solace in watching it on TV because I know they'll cut the extra bad part. Like if there's anything too bad, they'll cut it.
It's hard to
And
watch
commercial breaks, man. I remember like, commercial break.
Man,
Dude,
but the
Jigsaw looks good. Jigsaw?
wait,
Yeah, the new one. The new
Not
trailer.
Jigsaw. Sorry, it's the
Spiral. I thought to say Jigsaw.
Oh, no, yeah,
no,
Spiral.
that
Sorry.
movie
Spiral
sucked.
looks fantastic.
Jigsaw
yes,
did suck.
That's one of my other anticipated.
Yeah,
movies.
I'm anticipating that.
Man,
Uh,
Spiral.
Chris Rock,
Rock,
man.
the Samuel Jackson in the Red Band trailer.
is
He's
Chris
like, "You
Rock.
want to play games?"
When he's like,
You-
I'm like, Chris, you need some glasses, dude. He looks like his eyes are squinting so
I
hard.
love
in
Chris
that trailer.
Rock though, man.
But the first Saw movie, it's one of my favorites of all time. That's my favorite ending of all time.
It's a
It's a
That
great end-
twist
I mean,
blows my mind.
Yeah.
It's perfect, and I feel
blown
like
away.
Yeah.
they just should have stopped, and it would have been like enshrined on a like they would have made a statue to the Saw movie,
Oh,
but they
yeah.
just kept going. That it became like a joke.
That being
It became like a
had
trope.
but it had a good fan. I was part of the fan base.
Oh,
I
yeah.
love going to the theater
Oh,
and
yeah.
watching them, and I love.
But
part
I
of
feel
the
like
fun
it
was
got
finding
it,
the twist.
it
out.
started feeling like Final Destination movies,
Sure.
where it's the same thing but different.
But one
you know
thing
what I
that
mean?
one thing they did
That's
right
kinda cool
though
films on
is like they kept the same tone throughout, and then
Yeah,
freaking
sure.
Jigsaw happened. They're like, let's
But by
clean it up.
by the end of like
Yeah.
wasn't Jigsaw like he was like dying of cancer in one of the movies, and then he passes it on to some other chick in the next movie, and then she does some shit. Who knows? I don't know. Like there was, I remember it being like a really like I remember like reading up on it because I was like, how many fucking Saw movies?
like
are
like I
It
think
gets
the
pretty complicated.
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
the first one could have easily been like a David Fincher film. Like it has that kind of like
Yeah, I guess
tone
that.
to it.
Yeah.
you know?
I mean, I feel like it feels the first one, while amazing, it definitely feels indie movie. I
It
still
is.
feel like you feel the indie moviness of it.
Yeah.
like it's really clever filmmaking. Like you can tell they were doing a lot with a little.
You know,
I mean, it was only a budget of $1 million.
Yeah,
it just dawned on me what the most realistic horror film of all time is.
Signs.
Gone Girl.
Blonde girl. Yeah. Another, but another like that's a horror movie in a lot.
Terrifying situation for any relationship.
No, I
Yes,
mean like that's a great example of a horror movie that takes place within reality.
question. Speaking of goofy horror films,
Ha!
Evil Dead 2.
Amazing.
How do you feel about the remake Evil Dead?
I love the remake.
I did too.
I have a list of like top horror remakes of all time.
Yeah,
That's in
on
there,
Letterboxd?
for sure. Yes.
How can we find your Letterboxd? What's your username?
There you go.
Username.
There you go.
Let me see.
I knew.
Let me see.
I got this man started on Letterboxd actually.
You did, yeah, man.
It changed his life. Now he has like 7,000 movies he's seen.
Do you have an Apple iOS on your phone? It's not an Apple. Or is
I
that an Apple?
My
phone?
name is just Austin McEuen because I'm like one of the only Austin McEwens in the
That's
world.
such a big case. I thought. that was
How
an
many
Android.
movies have you seen on there? Made me cry.
3,428.
You're about 1,000. That's a lot of movies, Austin.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, at least you're not getting dick measured by Chris
And
Pistol.
if you look around me
It's true.
around Halloween time, every year I do 31 nights of Halloween.
oh, fun.
I do a movie a night.
Yeah.
I do a different list, different
I'll
themes
say,
every year.
As a kid,
I
I just
did-
want to say that most of my horror experiences
ABC
are thanks
Family?
to ABC's
ABC
30 Days of Halloween or whatever the shit they used to do.
One of my favorite
man.
childhood child-friendly horror movies is Ernest Scared Stupid.
Oh, God, I
It is
saw that, yes.
incredible.
It's
so good.
It's a great. That's a
Dude, Ernest P. World is a
dude.
he's a good character.
So here's the
Sad
question.
scene.
Is Scooby-Doo the live-action movie a horror film?
Of course.
There's
Scooby-Doo.
monsters.
I love Scooby-Doo.
There's monsters.
There's a ghost.
No, that's very true. I was going to say, real quick, last thing. What's some unknown horror films that are
Ooh, that's good.
our viewers
Under
can
the
go,
radar,
they can go
so to
check
speak.
out that
Yeah.
that they might enjoy?
Train to Busan.
They have,
maybe
they
on
have,
there.
they have
Probably.
plenty of time on their hands.
Train to Busan. Can we go and throw that one out
Sure.
there? A lot of people
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
haven't seen it.
One that I absolutely love. It's Urban Legend, 1998.
I remember seeing that on TV.
Yeah.
It scared the shit out of me.
It's so good.
man.
One of my favorite intros. The
Yeah,
introduction
that's-
is
Is
like,
it with the? It's with the gas station one, right? Is
Yeah.
it the gas station Urban
Yeah.
Legend that starts
Yeah,
out with
yeah,
like the
gas
guy
station.
in the in the back of the seat or something?
yes.
Oh yeah. Have you seen it?
I don't.
And
it's like
it-
every single urban legend you heard as a kid is in that movie.
What's
Yeah,
that movie
exactly.
I'm thinking of?
It's got Jared Leto
It's like
in
the
it, too.
Tooth Fairy or what's
Darkness Falls.
That's-
That's a good one.
You said
I
Urban
remember
The intro to
hearing
that.
about
You
Is
said
that a
Urban
good one?
Legend, and I thought Darkness Falls.
Is that a good one? Darkness
Yeah,
Falls.
Check it
it's
out.
a fun movie.
It's
Like an
got
evil
some
tooth fairy, right?
It's got some
I like-
freaky stuff in
I like
it.
Dead Silence.
Yeah, that's a freaky
But man,
one too.
Urban
The-
Legend, you just reminded me. God, that
It's
scared
so
the
good.
fuck out of me.
I don't
as a
think
kid.
It's so good.
It's like
It's
set in college too, right? Like all
yeah,
their
it's like
college
it's right
students.
around the time when Scream and
Yes.
Scream 2 were
Yeah,
coming
yeah,
out. They did
yeah.
Urban Legend. It's got you got Jared Leto starring in it, and you have all these
God.
horror icons, and you got Robert Englund, he's a professor. You got Danielle Harris, who's a roommate in it. You have
I can't even remember like the like
Tony Todd's
the
not in it, but he
resolution
was.
in it, like what it was going on behind it, because it was like
It's a good whodunit.
yeah, it
Like,
is.
it's really
and it
good.
is like it's like all of these urban legends keep happening and killing people.
Yeah, he kills the people based on
The urban legend.
the urban legend. Like
That's
yeah.
cool.
So it's the car following one, like the
Yeah.
bright lights one. Yeah, I remember
And
he
it's
does
like-
that one where like the car flashes the lights behind you, you pull over.
Yeah.
And then he gets out and murders you.
Okay.
The gas station one's the one where the person goes inside or something and says, I need help with this or something.
Yeah.
And then there's some kind of dialogue between the attendant that's like, what about, like they make a reference to someone else being in the car or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. There was a,
Huh.
what are the other urban legends even tackles? I feel like there's so many.
let me think. There's the dog in the microwave. There's the oh god, I'm blanking
Don't
now.
they
I'm
play
blanking
on,
now.
Don't they at least mention the like Pop Rocks and soda one?
So
Don't they like
that's
make
how
a joke about it, right?
It's in the it's Robert Englund, a professor. They're
Yes.
they're having a discussion on the
on
philosophy-
urban legends,
Yeah,
right?
on urban legends. Yeah, and they
Of
do
course,
that.
of course, they're having a class on urban legends.
Definitely
and the killers
check
in
it
the
out.
class.
It's a good one.
Man,
And I think
I need to rewatch it.
yeah, no one ever talks about that one.
No.
I think it deserves
Yeah.
some
I'm
rewatch for
actually
sure.
gonna check. You said Robert England's in it, so I'm gonna go watch it.
It's
Yeah.
I'm
It's a
pretty
fun
sure
movie,
I
man.
haven't.
It's
I would-
just a fun movie.
I would remember if I.
It's creepy in a lot of different ways. I think that's
Yeah.
what's cool about it is because it does so many different kinds of killings. It just feels like you get a lot in it. Yeah.
There's also a sequel.
I didn't know that.
And it's got Anthony Anderson in it. It's got Eva
Wow.
Mendes.
I think
It's
it'd be
got
Is it as good as the first one?
it's just a campy slasher movie. The
Okay.
second one is, but it's fun.
I mean, if it's based on more like creepy urban legends, I think that was the scariest part of it is that you knew these legends as like just as being a kid. And so like
you're looking at is that my letterbox?
No, this is always my letterbox is always your reviews. It's good as my feed because you review everything you watch. So I'm like,
That's
like,
fine.
oh, Austin liked this movie because I know all your reviewing habits. By the way,
So
not my choice.
More under the radar. If you have any other
give me some
under
more.
the radar films,
I'm adding
any
some
more?
Under the radar.
Like unspoken of.
This one's more of a horror comedy, and it's become more popular now. But Tucker and Dale versus Evil,
Sure,
Amazing.
absolutely
That one.
incredible.
It's an amazing movie.
Incredible.
Urban legend added.
Yes.
Boom.
Yeah, you want to
boys.
watch that?
Mm.
Oh God. Under the radar.
The director is Jamie Blanks.
Oh, I don't know.
Yep.
Jamie Blanks is Gillian Anderson in this movie? No, that's not Gillian Anderson. Tara Reid's in this movie.
That's
interesting.
right. Yeah, that was the other one. Tara Reid.
Wow. Man, Gillian Anderson, she's pretty cute also. What else we got?
Let's
Horror
see.
film
Let me
wise.
see. I'm blanking.
Unknown.
Unknown.
I'll
horror
give you
movie.
again. I'll mention my original two. Go watch Pumpkinhead
Yes.
and go
There
watch
you go.
Fright Night, the original Fright Night. And then if you get a wild hair up your ass, it's not as good. Then go watch Fright Night 2, and then go watch Pumpkinhead Blood Wings because those are all really fun horror films.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't worry about the other two Pumpkinhead movies; they'll suck.
But I would definitely check out the 70s era of Dario Argento.
I don't know that.
Like the Italian horror.
Ooh.
It's all overdubs. It's in English
All
and
like
stuff.
spaghetti.
But like the
Yeah.
bird with the crystal plume, great murder mystery.
Wow, I don't know that.
Tenebrae, great murder mystery.
Wow.
You know what we haven't seen,
Suspiria,
and now I want.
Have you seen the remake?
it is an interesting movie.
I want a mob movie horror film. Like combine the genres. Give me Goodfellas with like The Shining.
Well,
combined or
let me
something.
start on that script then.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Mob
I
horror
get story credit, and fuck you for not giving it to me.
What?
Another great one that goes under the radar, Summer of '84.
I've heard of that.
Oh,
one.
is that an RKSS film?
That's that
Yes.
one that's like
I've
just
hung
came
out
out
with
recently,
them.
right?
It's really,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah, they're cool
That's
guys.
awesome. Yeah.
You what?
Good horror.
hung
The
out with them?
Little Rock Film Festival. They made Turbo Kid.
Oh.
Shout out to our arcade.
So is that a true
RKSS.
horror movie? It looked like game. It looked like what if what the fuck's the Netflix show?
Stranger Things.
It looked like what if Stranger Things would actually scary.
Yeah.
That's
did you ever
would pitch the
see-
movie that way.
Did you ever see Disturbia with Shia LaBeouf?
I love that movie.
That
It's-
movie's good.
it's
a
like
modern.
good
It's a
one.
modern.
Another
window.
good
I like Disturbia.
Yeah, I
It's,
do
it's
too.
like that.
Yeah.
Summer of '84 is.
No, I like RKSS. They're really talented filmmakers. They're really cool too.
And if you like really gory, just campy, disturbing stuff, Terrifier.
Ooh,
Art the Clown.
Terrifier.
It is just.
Do you
it
like
is-
Phantasm?
I love the first one.
I mean, I
I
cannot get
love
into
it.
It's a weird movie. But
There's
I
5 of them, and there you get even weirder.
I bet that Ravager and they.
Yeah.
There's
I
some
know we
weird
mentioned
stuff.
it.
very weird stuff.
How do you feel about the Final Destination series? Bruce Hutchinson, his wife loves them. I remember that.
They're
I think
fun.
I think he likes them.
I thought it was his
fun,
mother
man.
or his wife loved
the very
them,
first
so they
one,
went to all
the
of them.
moment when he gets off the plane and they see the plane blow up and they're like, "Oh my god, he was right." That is a chilling moment.
It is.
It very good.
It
Yeah.
in the plane scene is the sequence itself is really good visual effects. Like it's really
Yeah.
impressive.
Plane scene? Is that the one? Isn't the first one with the log truck?
No, it's planes. I think it's a plane, right?
I thought the first one was log truck.
No, it's a
No,
flight.
the second one?
Second one.
Yeah.
It's
Log
a, it's
truck?
a,
The second, yeah, I get them mixed up now.
it's
So-
it's the traffic.
Is the second one where the iMac
traffic
kills
jam.
him? He gets killed by an iMac.
Probably the third
It-
one.
No, there's one where he gets somebody's opening like an iMac in their kitchen and it somehow kills them.
The big thing in the third one's the roller coaster, and then
Yeah.
No, I think.
And then the fourth one is like a NASCAR
the
thing.
the
going
roller
on.
coaster is the third one. It was
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that
3D.
one.
And
Yeah.
then the fifth one is a bridge collapsing.
Yeah, it's the,
There's a fifth one. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
and then there's the Final Destination.
That
Which
that's part
spoiled
4.
for me. As I worked at the theater, it's actually a prequel. That's the fifth one.
The fifth one is Final Destination 5. The Final Destination is 4 because it's the final one. But the fifth one's the prequel.
Right.
And you don't find out
Till the end.
till the end. Yeah.
Yeah, see, that's cool. Well, guys, I think we did it. We're kind of running a little bit on time here, or a little bit over. So
Who cares about time?
how can you said Austin McEuen on Letterboxd, and we'll have that in the description
Yeah.
below.
Yeah.
Any way else our listeners can find you or contact you or anything in the pipeline you have working on at the moment?
I mean, Facebook's the easiest way to contact
Now,
me.
you have
Just
some
find me on
horror
there.
movies that will be released eventually. You're festival circuiting them, right?
Hoping, yeah.
One
So-
really good looking one called Deer in Headlights.
Yeah,
Yes.
I heard some like Jackoff filmed it though. Like was DP.
Yeah, it was a
Yeah.
jack off.
That's a recent one. My live action adaptation of the Hash Slinging Slasher
Now,
is
did
my
you shoot that
most
to be
recent
more
one.
horrific? Like, is it a horrific version,
It is
or is it? Are you
it-
trying to be true to the like campiness of the
it's
episode?
like a mix. Like I made it, true to the episode, but
Sure.
I put my own twist to it.
Cool.
Like
Cool.
it works, and it's live
Love it.
action. It's explicit. It's gory.
Ooh.
It's great. And then my next film is my thesis.
Is it a horror as well? I'm assuming.
It is a horror movie. It's a horror drama.
Okay.
So I'm going the
Any kind
serious
of
route
tease
this
you
time.
can
Can
give
you give
us
us like
for
a
it? Like
log
any-
line or
yeah.
anything? You don't have to. Just
I can tell you my goal.
sure.
Sure.
It is I'm trying to make a faith-based horror movie.
Okay.
I know you're very
We've had
secretive
some
on your plot.
Signs.
I know this.
Signs.
Yeah.
Signs is a good faith-based horror.
Yeah, it is.
I
actually.
love Signs. I love.
think-
That's
I think
another
it's
one of
a
my
great movie.
favorite.
And I think
horror
it's
films.
hard to make a faith-based horror movie
Oh,
because
yeah.
it's the horror is demented.
Yeah.
you know.
Well, I mean,
It's called The Exorcist,
okay.
bro.
Well, here, what? Here's another movie, Exorcism of Emily Rose.
It's a freaky
Y'all like-
movie.
it's got some freaky
It's got
ass
some
movie.
freaky. The recording is the worst. The recording stuff's the worst.
That, well, that and when she like flies up in the barn is like we are Legion
Yeah.
and shit like that.
Have you seen? Here's a shout out to Johnny Brandon. Have you seen Exorcist 3: The Heretic?
The endings. It's chilling, man.
Johnny
It's
loves that.
chilling.
Every time we talk about horror films, he's like, "Have you seen Exorcist 3: The Heretic?" I'm like, "Johnny, I haven't seen it. Let's watch some clips from it." So that's our Exorcist 3 conversations.
man.
Well, this has been a fun horror talk.
It
I've
was
enjoyed
cool.
this.
I did too.
Going
actually.
down
I
horror
didn't-
memory
I
lane.
didn't know if you would like this episode.
No, this
or
is
not.
fun. I mean, here's the thing. Like, horror films for me as a kid were almost like also a sign of like rebellion and like disobeying the rules because I grew up in a very strict household.
Yeah.
So it was like staying the night at a friend's house and watching a scary movie. Like that was kind of my horror experience.
Yeah.
So kind of remembering some of this, it's like remembering those days of being a kid and like trying to breaking the rules at friend's house, like rules your parents would normally
See,
enforce.
mine was
and-
the opposite. I had a fort at 3 years old with my Teddy Ruxpin watching Predator. So that was that was my.
You were
childhood.
desensitized from a young age.
Very young.
Yeah.
So-
I would call Predator a horror movie too.
It is. It's a horror
It is
sci-fi
a-
film.
yes.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
just like
absolutely.
Alien. I think,
Alien? Hell yeah, Alien.
I think my favorite horror film of all time would, if you have to call, I mean, it'd probably be Alien.
It's totally a horror
great.
film. It's
I mean,
totally a horror
it is a
film.
horror film. I'm saying like it's just so to me, it's like it's so obvious.
It's hard when horror movies transcend the horror genre.
Exactly.
To feel like they're still because it feels like you're almost confining it.
Yeah.
But Aliens was such a phenomenon.
Yeah.
But it's still a horror film.
Alien's
Easily.
my favorite horror film of all
Easily.
time. Oh man, The Terminator's a horror film.
Yeah. Hell
Easily.
yeah.
It's a
Hell
horror.
yeah.
It's a horror sci-fi film. It's a
Yeah.
thriller. Yeah. Easily. It's a monster.
It's kind of crazy when you start thinking about how many iconic movies to cinema and even action iconic movies started as horror.
And I will say one thing I love that horror can do is it's the one genre that can bring in every other genre.
Yeah, that's true. Superhero genre, bro.
Can you have a horror
I just
melodrama though? I don't know if you can have.
Brightburn.
I don't know if you can have a horror
true.
melodrama.
That's true.
Horror melodrama. Can you do horror melodrama?
I mean,
don't know.
that's what A24 does.
Well, they're not melodramas though.
I've only seen half of Brightburn.
Like, can
Yes,
you
you have
imagine
them.
A Star Is Born with zombies? I can't.
I can.
But I don't want to imagine.
You will make
But
it.
here's the problem: I don't ever want to imagine A Star Is Born again. I just want to eliminate it from my
I want to
brain.
imagine that check that clears my bank account after I make it. That's what I want to imagine. Ching.
Sure, I mean it'll be Pride and Prejudice and zombies, but different.
Do you like? Here's a question. Last one.
We're never.
Do
gonna
you like
finish this
Abraham
episode.
Lincoln Vampire Hunter?
It's fun stuff,
Dude, it's a
man.
fun movie.
I
Did you ever
wanna-
watch
I wanna
Abraham
try-
Lincoln?
look good.
Yeah.
Is awesome.
Look good.
The way he swings that's you know what? Hey, the ultimate horror film, Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker.
It's so true. There's definitely zombies in it. So
Well, there is. There is. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, Austin, thank you so much for being here. It was
Yes,
fun
thank you for
talking
having
to you.
me, man. It's
We're
been a good
fixing to actually
time.
work on my film very shortly after this. Apparently, it's a horror film, and
Depends on your perspective.
I guess so.
It's a horror film for Donovan either way.
It has been a horror for me.
He's gonna have anxiety no matter what it is.
Daniel, how can our listeners write into us?
They can write into bit.ly/241mail. There you can write in for all your discussion, your questions, your insults, whatever you want to say, you can write it there, and we'll read it on the air if we choose to.
Yeah, and if you have any cool suggestions for horror films that we haven't talked about, please hit us up.
Yeah, that'd be great.
This man has probably seen it, but that doesn't mean we haven't.
We'll read them. Tell you what, if you send us your horror films, especially if we haven't mentioned them, we'll read them on live next week and just say, hey,
we'll send them to
here
Austin.
were our user-suggested horror films to check.
If you need lists, I have lists for beginners all the way to advanced.
Is it on Letterboxd?
It is on Letterboxd.
All right, there you go. That's your horror.
Letterboxd is awesome.
Place to go.
It's a cool place to do things. For all your podcast 241 needs, go to podcast241.com. There you can subscribe to any of our social media platforms like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and, of course, TikTok. Also, you can use the website to get to any of our podcast services. Of course, iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify, to name a few. And then we always tell everybody the best way to consume the content is to go to our YouTube channel, which you can also find on the website. Right. And there you can subscribe and like and leave comments. When we say please do so, it helps people find us, and it helps us make more content for you.
And we like doing it. We enjoy this.
We do. It is fun.
We put on a show, but Donovan is work-withable.
Yes.
Most of the time. About 3 hours a day, that's your peak.
Like off camera, I'm fucking diva.
My God, I had to pick him up in a limo today.
He did.
With champagne.
Yeah, he did. And then I stole his face. Yep. Anyway.
This episode does not end. Which is also a different kind of horror movie.
It is. Well, like all good horror films, we will be back. And my name is Donovan Thompson.
I'm Daniel Wingfield.
And I'm Austin McEuen.
And we have spoken.